how do I make a business out of this? Because I think they need to see themselves as a business. That's what the colleges do. The college is a business. I mean, yes, they're a business which is trying to improve health and everything. Although not always, but I do think that they need a little bit more of a bit more thinking like that.
You talked about if they haven't got it. What about partnerships? What good partnerships should they be forming? What tie-ups should they have going forward?
Do the colleges still like them, or do they see them as a competitor?
Mixed, I think. They obviously came out of the RCP.
Yeah.
And I think that relationship was strained. And also, the RCP is, one of the most established colleges.
Doesn't need them.
And, it does some of its own leadership development offer. So it's contested space, isn't it?
Yeah. So the way I'm not, I don't know whether this is helpful or not, but the way I've got stuff going sometimes is providing a service which other people don't want to provide. Mm-hmm. So rather than looking to compete, like we're saying, we can do that bit for, but it does involve listening, which I have to say isn't Peter's biggest skill, like experience. Anyway, that's fine. Dare I say it? But seeing an opportunity that you can fill and then being really willing to fill that, because often some of these organisations have got quite a lot of money but they don't have capacity, and I don't know whether this might be an opportunity that's missed, because it might be that leadership is established in those organisations, but I'd be talking to understand where the gaps are and where there's a need to provide something. And then obviously it's not just a case of just being whatever people want them to be, but if there's something that fits with what their values are and what they need to do, and there's an opportunity, then I would, for them to be an expert in something and to provide that. So because if it's one college needs it, or Faculty of Clinical Informatics, I was at their meeting last week and I said, we should get Peter Lees to come and talk to us about how you set up a faculty which is a slightly not a core specialty. I don't know if that's a good idea, but sorry, I'm not very clear, but I would spend time trying to understand who the key players are, and thinking broadly. So it's the deaneries as well as the college. So I think the deaneries. So when I was at UCLP, we got a lot of money from the deaneries, a huge amount of money from the deaneries. Like literally, they'd give us like £600,000 just from writing a 2-page piece of A4 paper. And that was based on hearing what they needed and being able to say, yes, we'll just do it. Not having a clue at the time how I was going to do it, but just saying it can't be that hard, do you know what I mean? And then getting the money and then figuring out how to do it. So I think that, but the deaneries have got literally, they've got huge budgets for delivering leadership and management and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, if literally we used to get like £1.5 million sometimes in a year from the deaneries and stuff to just provide education and training stuff that they wanted, which was mental health related. And there's loads of leadership stuff, so I'd be doing that. I would probably still be talking to colleges, and as you pointed out, some of the smaller colleges who don't have the capacity and don't have the big leadership provision stuff, because it's part of every doctor's training portfolio. I would think about provision of coaching. I don't know if that's what it sounds like they've done, but so even if you had a few of those, but like coaching of the chief execs and the clinical directors, medical directors, and especially some of the bigger trusts, like the big city trusts, the Birmingham, Sheffield, they've got lots of money. The other thing is, no, I don't think that culture would fit. I was saying actually local authorities weirdly have strange pockets of money that you can access for stuff, but I think that it's so medical culture that even though I know they're breaching into, I don't think that would be a good place to go. Yeah. I don't know if I'm being very helpful, sorry.
No, it's good. It's an interesting perspective, because as I said, I'm not expecting everyone or one individual interview to give me everything. That's why I'm in there. It's picking up different ideas and different critiques and different suggestions. So
I honestly think though that if he could make his app or their not behind the firewall and then sell it as a signposting and then sell the advertisement of existing things, and they can even then sell their own stuff on there. Do you know what I mean? If they were providing their own stuff, and then they could even accredit, they could accredit leadership and training courses. But again, people aren't going to pay for FM to accredit them to be advertised to 2,000 people. But if so there's two ways you get money off people: is one, to advertise their course, but second, to say that you're FMLM accredited course.
Yeah. Can I ask? Sorry, Anna, we're miles over time. I don't know how you are for time.
If I'm okay. 11 o'clock. I've got a meeting.
Okay. Can I ask you then about your views on the impact of COVID? It would be remiss not to, because my research was delayed by a year because of the pandemic. Yeah. And
on medical leadership management.
Yeah, I mean, has it been a positive thing? Has it given opportunity? Has it not been? Has it kind of,
I can't really talk about myself because I haven't. So I went off and did clinical full time. So I went from part-time academic, as in I was 80% just doing academic work, to 100% clinical for about 3 or 4 months. Right, March last year, kind of not this last year, which I didn't appreciate. I hated it because I just got a big grant and I had to put it off and that kind of. And then since, it's been really hard to do my research just because of getting access data, but that's not relevant to this. I think that I also have quite a lot of friends who are like heads of ICUs, and I've got a microbiologist friend, and I've got another friend who headed up the Cambridge, went on to SAGE, and I've got another friend who was head up the Cambridge non-symptomatic testing thing, and led that as a trainee. And I think that it has created quite a lot of opportunity from a leadership perspective, and isn't in that people have had to step up. I think it varies hugely depending on specialty. So I think when I talk to my ICU colleagues and some of those colleagues, I think actually the thing that they talk about is trauma, genuine trauma, that almost like conflict zone as a soldier going into war, that kind of trauma. And I think, and they said that it's not only the medical staff, it's all healthcare staff. They said that they've never experienced human suffering like it. And also they've said things like, I've said, I'm incredibly grateful because if it wasn't for people like you stepping up, I would have to step up, and it's not what I want to do. The reason I don't do that kind of medicine is it makes me cry a lot, because I feel very sad about people. I just find it really sad. So I feel a bit safer in my little academic bubble. But and I think so some of the conversations I've had with them is like the ITU stuff. So Adam Brooks ITU, heads of ITUs, like really hardcore, like, dealing with death and dying every day, saying they're having nightmares. And also are saying, but I'm so impressed by the incredible bravery that you've been showing. And they've said things like, I'm a white, skinny, youngish, fit male. What's real bravery is the 40, 50-year-old Asian healthcare workers who are having to come to work in a red zone all the time because they've got no other way of putting food on their family's plate, and they're seeing and they're at real risk of dying if not getting really severe COVID, and the challenge of managing that team. And it's been such a big shift. So I think there is I don't want to say opportunity, but I think there is a very real issue that if FMLM, I don't know if they felt they were able to, that they could provide, that in terms of team building, thinking about leadership in adverse traumatic experience, post-traumatic, not distress, but, almost this post-traumatic injury they're talking, as in, because it is, resilience would be a good thing, I would say, like resilience within leaders, compassionate leadership, all that kind of stuff. Also, the other opportunity I would say is in primary care. So on all the forums I see, everyone just talks about how primary care is just utterly